If you are here, you're probably like me. You have multiple responsibilities in your life and you're looking for strategies to manage your time. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a church leader, I am a volunteer, I'm a manager, I'm an entrepreneur. I do so many things, and so managing my time is very important to ensure that I'm able to provide quality and the best of me in all areas of my life. So in this video, I'm sharing with you some of my strategies that I have to manage my time effectively. Let's get right into it. The first thing is that everything is scheduled. If it didn't make it to the calendar, then it's most likely not going to happen. I schedule everything. I have 3 separate calendars. So I have my personal calendar, I have my more business general calendar, and then I have my business calendar that's more for meetings that are where I'm leading. So all these 3 calendars are on my phone, and I'm able to access the information and see what's happening at a given time. And so I use Google Calendar. That's the way that I manage my calendar. In the past, I used to have, I can show you actually. So in the past, I used to use one of these to manage my calendar. I still think it's an amazing tool that you can use if you're someone who prefers to do writing and have the information in a visual way. I no longer use it that much just because I have 3 calendars happening at once, and so sometimes I just forget to put it on the board. But if you're someone who likes having a visual that you can see right in your office, I do recommend that type of calendar. But right now I've changed everything where I'm more digital and just focusing on Google Calendar. So typically what I do is I plan things way ahead of time, but what I'll do is for a given week, I typically plan that week on a Sunday evening. I'll plan whatever's coming up for that week, and then every evening before I go to sleep, I will check what's coming up for the next day so I can prepare myself for that day. The second thing that helps me in terms of managing my time is having clear priorities and goals. I ensure that whatever task or responsibility that I'm taking on for that day, that it aligns with one of my long-term goals. So if there's a responsibility that I'm taking on just for the sake of doing it or to help somebody else excel in their goal, then typically I am learning right now to say no as much as possible and to set boundaries. I want to ensure that everything that I'm doing has a clear purpose in mind and is helping me achieve what I want to achieve, and also helping me develop myself to become a better person. If one of those responsibilities is not either for God, for the betterment of my family, or to achieve a business or career goal, then right now I'm in a space where I'm getting better at saying no. Something that really helps me in terms of managing my time is I block off time in my calendar to do tasks that are very similar. So if I have tasks that are related, let's say right now, I have a time blocked off in my calendar, which is for content development. And I will spend 3 or 4 hours to record videos that will last me a month or 2. And that's typically what I do because I don't have the time on a weekly basis to sit down and record one video after another video, or to just pull out my phone randomly and start recording something. I don't have that time, and I also don't really like that. In terms of my energy management, especially as an introvert, what I prefer to do is to batch content. If I know that this day is what I've set aside to focus on that, I get my energy levels ready to be able to devote my time and energy to that task at hand. So that's what I typically do. So I block off time in my calendar where it's like, this time I'm focusing on writing this proposal, or at this given time I'm focusing on writing this message, or whatever it may be. That's typically how I block off time to focus on tasks that are very similar. And it does help in terms of productivity, because I know that I have 5 hours to do this, I have 2 hours to do this, and during that time I'm avoiding all distractions and I'm staying focused on what I need to do in that given time. This one is very much related to what I just shared. So it's in terms of batching tasks. So if you have tasks that are very similar, that you're using the same part of your brain to be able to deliver on them, it's way better to batch those tasks in the same period of time, so you can focus your energy on those responsibilities and then move on to something else. So for example, what I typically do is I have my days where I take my coaching calls. So what I typically do is Monday, Thursday, and Friday is typically where I take discovery calls or my coaching calls. So that's when I interact with more people. If I'm doing sometimes also networking calls, I try to schedule them around those days. Tuesdays and Wednesdays is where I try to do more of my quiet work, where I'm focusing on things that relate to my own personal development, or things that are more related to the advancement of my business or my career. And then Saturday is typically where I do more of the things related to ministry, or things that are more related to volunteering. And then Sunday is family and almost everything else. But that's typically how I try to batch my responsibilities based on the day, but then also based on the time of the day. So for example, I try my best to finish all my work before 5:30, because 5:30 is the time that I have to pick up my son from school. So when I pick him up from school, that time that I have with him is typically an hour and a half or 2 hours. I try my best to devote that time specifically to him. So every evening, for example, we have dinner together as a family. We try to do so at least 5 evenings a week. Typically, the only one that we won't do is a Wednesday evening, because I have a call with my membership program, Advance Her Career. But other than that, the other evenings are typically open for us to be able to have dinner together as a family, play a game or whatever, spend some time with him before we do bedtime. Basically, if I have other things to do, I'll do it after 8 o'clock when he's sleeping. So batching tasks is something that can help you in terms of keeping yourself focused and also keeping your energy aligned to whatever you're trying to achieve. The next thing is that I schedule breaks. I'm the type of person that I can keep going and going and going, and I'm just working, that I will get tired at some point, but I will always try to keep pushing myself to do the next thing. And so in the last, I will say 3 to 4 years, I've been very intentional about scheduling breaks and literally giving myself the opportunity to do nothing and not feeling guilty about it. And that's something I'm still working on in terms of not feeling guilty about it. But this, when I say taking breaks, it's not that I'm waiting, every 3 months I take a huge vacation, or, every start of the year I'll do something. Those things do happen, and those are the bigger events. But even within my week, I try to have evenings where after my son goes to sleep, I'm not doing other business stuff or other things that are related to business development. I just relax and focus on something else and try to switch my mind to something else. And so that is a way that I am able to recharge and regain the energy that's necessary to be able to carry out the responsibilities I have. I typically go to the gym, for example, early in the morning. This is new for me. I started the morning gym schedule in the summer, about the summer. Before, I used to go in the evening, but I changed it now to the morning. So I'll typically go to the gym around 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm at the gym for about an hour. And that really helps me to start my day off right. But I don't go every day in the morning, so that gives me the opportunity also that some mornings I'll wake up at 6:30, but I'll be able to do something else. So whether it's read a book or just take the time to catch up on certain responsibilities around the house, having that flexibility to know that I have some mornings that are free, some evenings that are free, really helps me in terms of balancing the different things that I have to do, and also getting little breaks here and there so that I'm not always working. Now, the very last thing that's helped me in terms of managing my time, especially in this year, has been limiting my time on social media. So on my phone, whatever social media apps that I have, I typically have them for business purposes. So whatever apps that I have a limit set on the phone. It's a digital well-being feature, and you probably have it on your phone as well. It's like a default feature that comes with the phone. And so I've set all my social media apps to have a limit of how much time I can spend on a given app in a day. And then in addition to that, I do take some time. There are certain periods in the year, for example, this summer, where I was on social media a lot more than I had anticipated because I was working on a certain project. And after that project was done, I completely deleted all the social media apps from my phone to get a break from them. So I do that periodically as well, where I will completely delete the apps, because I know that sometimes I will find myself when, let's say I have downtime, for some reason picking up the phone, and then you just find yourself scrolling, and you're laughing about this reel and that reel, and then you're just going, and then all of a sudden you realize you've been on watching videos for 45 minutes for an hour. And so I don't want to get into that space anymore. And so I'm being really intentional about the amount of time that I'm spending on social media. If I am on social media, it's for business purposes. I am either doing research, or I am posting something on my business accounts, or I am engaging with people who follow me. I'm very intentional about the amount of time I spend on social media, because I am aware of how draining it can be. And also, just in terms of energy management, I want to make sure that any information that I'm taking in is information that will empower me and information that will propel me to take what I'm doing to the next level. So anything that's not aligned with that, I try my best to stay away from it. And the thing with social media is that even if my feed is, if you want, curated, where I really have intentionally followed certain accounts, sometimes when you're just scrolling through the reels, you will find other things that aren't necessarily related to what you wanted to follow. And that information, unfortunately, you're absorbing it as well, right? So in terms of energy management, time management, paying attention to what's coming to you, the information you're receiving, is very important, because it can impact your mood, and it can literally impact how your day is going to go. Those are my tips in terms of managing your time. On that note, my name is Lisa Akia, certified career and resume strategist. I focus on helping quiet leaders and their teams win at work while staying true to themselves. I post here every Thursday, and I talk about career, leadership, and LinkedIn. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and click on that subscribe button. And I have another video that is specific on time management skills for introverts. So tap right here to watch that one, and I will see you there. Take care. Bye.